right, and here is the video review for Iron Factory's TYRANT, aka their like 5 or 6 different Megatrons all in one. And it's actually really cool. We just got the Duve, the Tarn from their DJD last week, or the Spirits of the DEC as they're calling it. And he was already pretty cool, and then this showed up today, and he is fantastic. And we're going to show off as much as we can with all the different configurations you can do with this guy. There's a lot of really neat things that come with him and allow you to do stuff with him. So here he is in his tank mode. This is his Origin tank from Megatron Origin. And it's basically like, and it has a little bit of a, it's a tank because we say, but I can see that as a Cybertron tank. He's got treads, he's got a turret cannon, and the turret it doesn't do a full 360, but the turret can rotate, which is they didn't have to engineer that into there. He's fairly complex all around, but they did it anyway. So it's not a full 360. It kind of goes about 45 degrees to either side, about a full 90 degrees from one end to the other maybe. But he does have a rotating turret, and that's pretty cool. And this is with one of his cannons here. And it's cool, the cannons actually transform to become part of the tank. So here is his Origin mode tank. If you would prefer infiltration or more of a war within look, he does come with that arm cannon. And basically you just unpeg the arms here from the cannon and pull the cannon assembly out for this one. And you can see, and then so it looks like that, and then you just kind of fold these panels down, flip this around, and there's his arm cannon right there. And then you take the other war within looking cannon, and you flip these panels up. These were very stuck on mine. You may need to get a small, safe prying tool to very carefully pull these off the tab the first time. Like I said, these were very difficult, and I was almost worried I was going to break it getting these open the first time. But you just open those up just like the other one. You don't have any other panels to fold down, and then you see this tab and this slot go into the tab and slot on his arm. So you just line up one side and then peg the other side into it and plug it in. Now the cannon can raise, or the turret can raise. It does have tabs under here to tab into the arms to hold it in place, but if you want to raise it, you can untab it from that. Although the way the arm joints work, it can be a little bit of a pain to get it tabbed back in until you get these joints. There's a ball joint up here and a swivel right here, or a hinge right here, and you got to get those lined up just right to peg in. So there you have kind of a war with any looking tank. There's also, if you read Monstrosity, which was one of the Livio Ramondelli stories they did, there's Monstrosity, and I can't remember what all of them were, but little side stories there during IDW's run. You can swap out the shoulder panels. We're going to wait until robot mode to do that. We're just going to go ahead and pull these guns out to make it look a little bit more approximating. And it also says to swap out the leg panels, so you'll cover the treads in the back. It'll look kind of like that from the side. But you pop this cannon out, fold these down, and then you take his kind of G1 fusion cannon looking piece and you pop it apart, and then you fold these panels out back here, and then you attach. There's some grooves here, so plug this into the front of this, and then plug this onto the front of this to rearrange the cannon, and plug that in to the body. Oh, it just plugs in the front. It doesn't go all the way back. Now, like I said, I haven't read Monstrosity, so I'm not 100% sure how accurate that tank mode is. But again, you do that, swap out the shoulder panels for the smoother ones, and then cover up the things, and you've got his Monstrosity tank mode. Let's go ahead and get him back. Go ahead and leave that cannon off. But we'll put his small guns back on, and we'll go ahead and transform him to robot mode. So you take this, and the leg panels, the legs detach right there, and then they kind of combine. They're going to have a combiner wars joint there. You pull this out, lift it up, plug it in up there, and then fold this up. This tab, their slot's going to go on this tab on the inner leg. So make sure to fold that all the way up. Bring this leg down, snap it together, make sure that locks into place. Come on. There we go. You can do it. Okay, make sure it goes all the way in. All right. Come up here, and rotate these out to the side. I'll take this panel, flip it around, and then untab the arm piece here, lift that up, spread his legs, and fold his front crotch piece around. Bring the arms out to the side here and straight down. Fold the chest panel. Oh, wait, before you do that, fold these kind of back around to the back as well as you can. You can fold them down like that to give more room. Fold the arm pieces up into the torso like this. Make sure they go all the way up. Let's block it. Oh, the head. Flip the head out a little bit around. Fold these all the way up. Then fold the chest panel down and over there like that. Turn his head around. Now, in the instructions, when it's showing you to go to tank, it says to turn the head around and fold it down into the back. And in the instructions right there, it shows it folding all the way down in. You can only fold it about halfway down because you can't fold it all the way into the body until you pull that arm piece out. So if you're not getting it to look exactly like the instructions, don't freak out because it does not fold all the way around until that arm piece is out of the chest, which is a later step. Bring his little knee pads up. Flip out his feet. Then fold his treads up. There's a couple little... Oh, wait. Take the top part of the tread, untap it from the front here, slide it up over the tread like that. You can see this one's now flatter in relation to the tread. Again, lift up the front part, untab it, fold this up, and then fold these up. This little tab is going to tab into his back on each side. Like that. Fold his shoulder pads straight out. Rotate the guns forward. Rotate his arms so the elbow hinges forward. And then open up this panel here and flip his hand out. Come on, hand. Am I folding it the wrong way? Nope, I'm pulling it the right way. Oh, you may need a little small prying tool to get his hand out. Not a big whoop. Just use a small screwdriver. Flip his hand out. Close that panel back up. And same on this side. Well, okay, we pulled this whole hand out, but that's okay. It just plugs right back in because he's got swappable hands as well. And then attach his cannon. And there is Origins Megatron. He's got the paint on his head, a really nice head sculpt. And let me bring this up a little bit here. Get him in the frame and row him. Maybe a little higher. There we go. And there you go. You got a nice little Megatron. I'm putting his other cannon back together. All right. So yeah. So here he is. He comes with a variety of rotate his hands so they're facing forward. Also, on the hands, you have to swap out. He comes with these solid fists installed, and you have to swap them out for the open hands. Those are the only ones that have a hinge to allow them to fold up for tank mode. The instructions don't clarify that unless you're looking really closely, and the instructions are tiny. Because inside here is just the post that these tab into, and it's supposed to be half like that. That's not broken or anything. And there's no other way. That's the only way to have a hinge there. If you try to force the fist to fold up, you're going to either crack the fist or crack the post or the slot that holds it inside the arm. You don't want to do either one of those things. So make sure you've swapped out to the open hands before you try to fold them up. And I want to thank Henry over at Pike for Life for that tip. I messaged him saying, hey, you usually get these. Do you get any? He does the official video manuals. And I was asking him if he actually got any tips or tricks from Iron Factory, because that was driving me nuts. And I'd seen the open hands in the thing. I hadn't looked closely enough at these hands yet to realize they had that hinge in them. So you've got Origin Megatron. And let's see, who do we want to put him with? well, wait a minute. So he's cool. He's posable. He's got a ball joint at the head. He's got ball joints in the shoulders, as well as that you can use some room. That transformation hinge gives it a little extra bit of room there. Bicep swivel there just above the elbow. Elbows, obviously wrist swivel, and these hands do also have that hinge. He's got a waist swivel, ball joint hips, thigh swivel, dual hinge knees. He can't go quite all the way back because of the way his foot hits the cannon here, or the tread. And he has a little bit of ankle tilt and the toe articulation there. So you can get him in some cool poses. I did post a picture of him with Dutch in the I Would Have Waited an Eternity for this bit from the movie, the old animated movie. And I would have waited an eternity for this guy. I'm glad I didn't have to, because like I said, he came hot on the heels of Tarn, and now they can face off. But yeah, so here's Origin Edition Megatron. You can take this off, swap this piece on, angle these pieces down, angle the shoulders down a little bit, and then you can fold these down, unscrew this head, and you do have to unscrew it. Don't just try to pop the head off the ball joint, because you'll end up ripping something. You don't have to unscrew the screw all the way. It should start. You just have to get it loose enough so the head can split and come off the ball joint. If we can get him here, come on. There we go. There we go. So pop that head off and take what they're calling the infiltration head, which has more of a helmety look to it. Screw that on, put it together. And there is his infiltration look. So you've got infiltration Megatron. He also comes with a smaller, where did it go? I had it over here, there it is. Another cannon if you want to put it over on this arm. Make him look a little bit more war with any. But yeah. So now you've got a different Megatron here on your shelf. And here he is with Iron Factory's previous Prime. A little bigger, a little bulkier, but for Megatron, they look nice together. Megatron's a little bulkier, and I think that's okay for that. And then, let me see. There's so many different pieces to swap out. So we did Origin, we did Infiltration. And then with the robot mode, we pop off. Basically, we're going to swap off a lot of these bits. So we'll swap this cannon off, pull this gun off. Come on, gun. So pull that off. We're going to pop off his shoulder pads. And again, when you do this, I first popped them off because there's like just a little friction joint here on the shoulder pad. And I popped it off of that thinking that was the case. What you want to do is actually pull it. You can see there's a little gap there on the top of the shoulder. You want to pull it so this entire red piece comes off with it. You don't want to just pop this off the friction joint. You want to pull that whole upper red piece off. Otherwise, the other shoulder pads won't fit. So pull it off there at the... make sure that red piece comes off with it. And pop on his squarer shoulders. There we go. Make sure those go all the way on. They should fit they should cover up all that red on the shoulder. Like that. Oh, that's backwards. Didn't realize that piece flipped over. There we go. Pull off these little pieces right here, come straight out to the side. And they do have a little bit, they have some room to wiggle, so if you need to wiggle them back and forth a little bit, but you can see it's just a straight tab. Pop those off and pop on these panels. Just solid black panels. Make sure they go all the way in. And then swap out his legs. Now to do this whole panel comes forward, and the instructions, again, make it look like these should just come straight off. Before you do that, make sure to come back here on this outer tread and untab it, because it tabs in back here. If you just try to pull it straight off, you're going to be putting stress on this tab. Make sure to unpeg it from this tread first, and then you can pull the front part of the leg right off. It take a little bit of doing because you got to get around. Helps if you can also open up this panel on the leg to get some leverage on it. And make sure that tabs back together. Come on. There we go. Again, untab this tread. Pop this off. And then you take standard black leg pieces that don't have the tread on the outside, and they just fit over these tabs right here on the shins. So push that on. And get that one on. And then swap out this head. Loosen that up, pop it off the ball joint, and put on this more G1 looking head. That, like I said, a little bit more work. It'd be nicer if they just popped off, but I get why they didn't do that. I'll fold these back up and give him his more G1 looking cannon. And then you have Megatron from Monstrosity, which again, I skimmed plot summaries of those, but I didn't read them, so I couldn't tell you exactly how accurate it is to that look. But a different Megatron. It's basically like G1 Megatron with the treads on his back. And once you've done that, you can open these up, and then this whole assembly, you kind of want to gently wiggle it because it's just kind of, the first couple times you do it, it doesn't want to come off. You can see it just kind of pegs into the back there with these two pegs. You don't want to crack these tabs. You pull that piece off and take this piece and plug it into his back. Now this piece only works in robot mode. You can't, there's no G1 tank mode. The 3 tank modes that I showed you are the ones that are officially functional there. But yeah, plug that in. Make sure that stays on. Go back on. There we go. And you've got a G1 Megatron. The amount of different Megatrons that this thing homages and can become is fantastic. Same, still has all the same articulation as all the other versions, but a cool little G1 Megatron. And comparisons here, he is with DX9's Dutch. And again, a little bulkier, a little bit more detailed. Although Dutch was going for more of a cartoony look, so I'll forgive that. But they look good together. There's G1 Megatron and Prime. Here he is with Iron Factory's Wings of Tyrant, red, their Starscream. And you'll notice his left hand is different than his right hand. And that's because Tyrant also comes with a set of hands for Starscream. Now, I thought that once to replace those, you do have to unscrew his forearm a little bit so you can get the hand out, because there is, on the original hand, there is a ridge there. That's how they made them. They didn't start doing this hand swap gimmick until recently. So you do have to unscrew it and then screw them back in. So I was hoping maybe once you unscrew that hand and popped it out, that these would fit the hole. You just pop them in and out like on all the other figures. But you do have to, there is like a slight nub on the end of these posts, so you do have to unscrew him and screw his hands in. But you can give him solid fists, open hands, or they give you another set of these hands, and I'm not entirely sure why, considering since they don't just pop out and remove. I mean, I guess you could file this down so they did fit, but and it may just be that because these are just their standard hand pieces, and so they just molded some for Starscream and gave them to you. So that may be the reason for the inclusion of that hand on these sprues. So you can upgrade one of your older Iron Factory figures with this set. And what's cool is that's all of the official modes for Megatron. And he also comes with his sword that he can hold, a little transparent purple sword. And again, another reason to keep these hands on. And you can also pop out, if you pop out the hand from the post, he comes with a little energy mace. It's a solid piece. It's, again, transparent purple. But you can give him his swinging energy mace, which is cool. And as I was starting to say a moment ago, with those are the official robot modes that they have for Megatron here. But if you take, I found that if you take this more G1-esque mode, or All Hail Megatron is how they refer to it, the All Hail mode. But you can pop these off and pop these back on with the red things facing forward. Swap back on over to the infiltration head. There we go. And the infiltration head is right here. See, that's why I recommend not unscrewing these all the way, because getting the pieces back together can be a little bit of a pain. Oh, come on. Now the whole head came off. Awesome. There we go. All right, let's get you back together. There we go. So swap back to the infiltration head and then give him this cannon again. It's not 100% perfect, but that's also not a bad, more than meets the eye, lost light Megatron. Like I wish you could rotate this chest plate, because if you get these pieces up onto his shoulders, I think it would really help replicate that more than meets the eye look. So again, not 100% exact to that design. Like you'd have to give him swappable, and maybe a future figure will come with a swappable shoulder plates to give him those kind of fins that he had there. But that's likely how I will be displaying most of them. And with since we're doing the the more than meets the eye Megatron, here he is with Overlord. And of course, we weren't going to show this guy off without putting him next to Tarn. So yeah, that is just, again, Iron Factory continues to just super impress me with the figures they're putting out at this scale. The amount of, and that's just swapping a couple parts into a specific iteration of Megatron. All the parts we've shown, you can mix and match them to any level you wish to make your perfect Megatron. I think all the modes, like I personally think like infiltration and like I'm not, and this is not a problem with the figure itself. I'm not a big fan of the origin head with the paint on it. Maybe you are. I do like Black Helmet Megatron, so there is that. But yeah, it makes a really nice like evolution of Megatron throughout the IDW series. With the G1 version looks great with G1 Optimuses and G1 figures. It's just the War Within / Infiltration version looks really good with their previous Prime. I'm hoping they do give us, with all the figures that are coming out this year, I hope we do get more of a G1-esque Prime from them versus the War Within Stormbringer version we've gotten so far. But just a lot of, I've said but several times. I'm just now noticing it. Also, like I said, you get the folding fists, or the open hands. He comes packaged with these solid fists that just peg, just to give you an idea, peg right in there. And then he also has the open hands. Again, a little bulkier than the ones that come on the other sprue, but you can give them open hands as well. I will probably keep, or like open, fully splayed hands. I'll probably keep the open fist on there, as those are the only ones that work for transformation. But this is a really fantastic Megatron. He's going to get a little repro label as soon as I'm done with this review, so that's always a sign of approval when I'm pulling out stickers and taking the time to sticker them up. So yeah, as much as I've loved all their other stuff, this may be the new highlight of Iron Factory for me, just with the sheer amount of options you get with him. But there he is, Iron Factory Tyrant.